Good morning. Hi, I'm Sadie Hayes, and this morning we are doing self-massage and Qigong for the urinary, bladder, and kidney organs and channels. So thank you so much for joining me today on Ithaca Morning Movement. So today I'm in a different part of my office, and we're going to be moving around a little bit in our close quarters. So right now I'm seated on the floor. This is one position that we're going to be in for self-massage. I'm also going to stand up. Today, it might be helpful if you have something like a racquetball. This is just a racquetball and a long sock. And if you put the racquetball in the sock, this is going to be part of what we use for our self-massage today. And if you don't have that right now, no big deal. You can always use like a door or a door frame to get these channels on your back, or else you can also pause and pick up because this is being recorded and you can always come back to it, or just do the best you can while we're live. So we are going to actually switch things up a little bit today, and we're going to start with some breathing, and then we're going to do channel massage. I've missed doing that the last couple weeks, so we're going to pop back into that. And then we are going to move after that. We're going to move the camera so you can actually see me do the movements. It's too tight right here, but we need a wall. So those are the things to consider. You might want something to massage your back. You'll probably want a wall or a door frame, something to sit on if you're going to be if you want to be comfortable, and then a little bit of space to do some movement at the end. Okay. So this morning here in Ithaca, we just had a snowfall, and I really love that because the light is really beautiful and the snow on the trees is really pretty, and it also helps me feel a little bit like winter is still holding on, which is really appropriate for today's element. The kidneys and the bladder are the water element in Chinese medicine, so that corresponds with the season of winter. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a wintry feel with us today. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to stand up. And just like this. So put your feet about hip width apart. And we're going to do what's called vertical alignment. So that's where you get your feet planted on the ground. Like this. And you are aware of your balls of your feet, your heels, the bottoms of your feet, the arch, spreading and making contact with the earth. Let your knees bend slightly, and let your tailbone feel as though it's got a weight attached to the bottom of it. So it just descends to the ground. Meanwhile, it's like a string pulling up from the top of your head, connecting you up to the heavens. So this helps you not be slouched forward or backward. It helps the spine elongate. And it also helps us connect with heaven and earth. And take a couple of breaths into your low belly. This area we call the dantian, or elixir field, both between the pubic bone and the belly button, this region right in here. Now you can drop your hands. Let your lips turn up into a smile, the tongue between your teeth, behind your teeth. Now listen with your whole body. Open the pores of your skin and listen to a sound that's far away. We're going to start with channel massage. So we're going to start just with some location first of our organs, and we'll do channel patting later. So usually we've gone through some shaking and patting. We're going to start with channel massage. I want today especially to make sure that you know that where the trajectory of the organ channels goes, because the movements, they stretch and move those channels exactly. It's really cool. So today the urinary bladder is just above the pubic bone, right? But the funny thing is that the bladder channel traverses the back. Now the kidneys are actually in the back. They're just right about here on your back, but the kidney channel traverses the front. So the kidney and the bladder are a front and back pair, and they are on the front and back torso of the body, as well as the backside and inside of the leg. So, so today we're going to start first with the bladder. That's the next one in the sequence after the small intestine. And the bladder channel starts at the eyes. Okay, so bladder's here. Bladder channel starts at the eyes, goes back over the head, and it makes 2 stripes down the side of, just on either side of your spine, goes down over the sacrum and straight down the back of your leg and to the pinky toe. Okay, so right to there, that's bladder 67. So it's the longest channel in the whole course. So as you root down, today we're going to check in with the water element in particular, and evoke in yourself all the many senses that water can be with you today. You may have water in your environment. You may not have as much water in your environment. You may have water in your environment that is sweet and trickling and flowing by. You may have water that is wide and expansive and profound. You may have water that exists under a water table or in an aquifer somewhere. So, or you may, like today in Ithaca, you may have water in the form of crystals and snow. So we are going to be checking in with that quality of water. So to start, as you're anchored down into your feet, feel your pinky toe especially, the pinky toe making contact with the earth, okay? And we're just going to start by rubbing this place here, the bridge of your nose. And right, it's called the inner canthus. It's like the inner corner of your eye. We're going to rub there. And then you can go up to the insides of your eyebrows. It's these 2 points right here. What you'd find if you push there, there's almost like a little divot. It's because there's a hole there where for nerves to come out of the cranium. So push right in there, just gently. This is a very helpful point for opening up your sinuses that are up here in the forehead. And we're just going to take our fingers and work back. When you get to the back of your neck, we're not here on the side of the neck so much, not here. It's back just a little bit. So you can rub your hands at the base of your skull and then give your neck a little squeeze. Giving the back of your neck a squeeze with whichever hand or both hands. You'll find the muscles that hold up your head there, they might be tight, might be kind of ropey. One side might feel more tight than the other. We're just going to start by giving those a nice massage. You can do a couple of rotations, not to any point of pain, stress, or strain. Okay, just waking up the muscles a little bit. This region here is on the bladder channel, but there are no actual points between it. Bladder 10 is up here, and then we just go down once we get to the spine at bladder 11. So, but this whole area right along the spine. So many people have neck pain in the neck. So go there. And now this is where you're going to get your ball. So this ball in a sock goes over your shoulder, okay? And what you can do is sort of maneuver it to get it in position. You may have used this before. And then get yourself up against a wall. And when that ball is right between your shoulder blade and your spine, you're just going to bend your knees while you press against the wall, rolling up and down. So there are two tracks that go alongside your spine. First, it goes inside just about 3 fingers away from your spine. And then it goes about a full hand width on either side of your spine to all the way down the back. So those are the two tracks of the bladder channel. Those are on each side. So when we're doing this, you don't have to like get each track, right? You're just trying to activate the points that are on the back body, and then you can roll over onto the other side. We're going to sort of do regions first. So we'll do the upper back region. So this is that region between the spine and the scapula that just gets sore on a lot of people. You roll up and down, you can reposition the ball. And once you've activated the bladder channel between your scapula and your spine, you can drop the ball down a little bit. For this, it might be helpful to go transverse like that. So you have it across the back. This is about level with the diaphragm, right around the rib cage area. While you're doing this, remember your breathing. See if you can fill out the region of your bladder with your breath. I'm going to go into the low back. This is around this area. So again, we're just using our knees to roll us up and down on the wall. You might need to reposition yourself closer or farther from the wall to get the right angular pressure. Now the triangular bone at the base of your spine is called the sacrum. And that has little holes in it. And those holes each are actually also acupuncture points. So we're going to roll up and down on the sacrum on each side. You can also do like hip circles, where you're just kind of moving your hips around in a circle and rolling that ball all over the surface of the sacrum. And I have my sock like this, right? So I'm keeping it in position where I want it to be. Does this feel fun? And now the lower points on the torso go right to the very tip of the sacrum, like right by the tailbone called the coccyx. And so if this is my sacrum, right, like that, they're actually points that are just going right to either side of that. And so those also can feel good to get the ball right on. Probably should have some good music on while we do this. All right, get something kind of funky with a little bit of a beat. Okay, so was there any spot on your back that felt like, I might want to hang that ball up there a little bit more? For me, it was the left scapula. I've been spending a lot of time doing applications on the computer. If you've also been spending a lot of time on the computer, you might have shoulder pain, and it might feel really good to get back up into that scapular region. So now I mentioned that you could do this thing with the ball on a sock, but you can also do it on a door or a door frame. So you just take something that's hard, get that right in there. With a door, it's not so good. I'd recommend a door frame, but just to give an example, you can kind of give it an old grizzly bear and just rub. Oh, here we go. It's cat time. Rub your shoulder on there. Okay. So that is the back part of our bladder channel. How does that feel? My back actually feels like nice and woken up. Now we're going to move down the back side of the legs. When people talk about sciatica, it's usually going down this back aspect of the thigh and even sometimes down past the knee. So it can be a little bit of an awkward thing to rub, but just to give you a sense of what we're going to do, you can take your fingers, right, and just kind of, you can brace with the thumbs. We're not pushing in with the thumbs, we're just bracing with the thumbs, and you're giving pressure. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. It's almost like you're separating the hamstring back there with your fingers. Squeeze it, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then back here, back of the knee. We'll do the same thing here, squeeze. So the bladder channel is really long. It's like, and it covers the entire body, right? It starts up by the head, by the eyes, back of the head, all the way down the back, all the way down the back of the calf. You might find it where the kind of two bulges here, the muscle meet. There's a point in there that can be sore. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to work on our feet. So 67 points is a lot to cover. The thing about our back body, though, is because we can't see it, we often forget it. So just do long strokes down the back. Okay. And now this is a time to either sit in a chair or sit on the floor, on a cushion, or whatever's comfortable. So now the bladder channel, you came down the thigh, back, and here, this is kind of hard. See where the ankle bone, that little divot there? Take your finger and thumb and get in there and give it a little rub with your knuckle. This is bladder 60. It's a really great point for back pain. You don't have to have your legs in a position like this. I'm just doing this for the camera. You can sit cross-legged. You can have one leg down, work on it like that, work on it with your thumb. Little points like this between the ankle bone and the Achilles tendon. It's points like this when you rub them. It's like, oh, that's kind of sore, right? People will say, how do you find those points? Well, they're there. They're waiting. This point really, can be helpful for back pain. It's bladder 60. Okay, and now we're just gonna take our fingers and rub down the outside. So remember, with small intestine, we were on the pinky side of the finger. Small intestine is related, and it's just going down the pinky toe side of the foot. Take your finger, just pull the pinky toe like that. Okay. However is comfortable for you, we're just going to work there. Bladder 60. Check in with your breathing. The bladder channel is often used for pain because there's so many regions in the back, hips, legs, ankles, feet, headaches. Bladder channel is often a channel used to treat pain. But when we think about the bladder, what's really important, right, is the smooth flowing of the water of the body. So, having smooth urination, that's a way that the bladder is activating the water in our body. Any sort of urination issues can be often addressed with the bladder. So just reconnect here. Low belly, little breath out, breath in. Just check the course of that whole channel. We started right here by the eyes and we ended up on the pinky toe. And just feel. heart 8, remember, was here. So it's on the heart channel. Small intestine channel was here in the pinky. So we are doing the same thing on our legs as we are doing on our hands. So the place where we find the beginning of the kidney channel is on the bottom of the foot. So you see the foot and imagine dividing it into thirds. 1, 2, 3. Very simple way to connect where this point is. It is 1/3 of the way down from the toe, but it's right here at the sort of the curve of the underneath the ball of the foot. So this is kidney 1. It's really the only main channel point on the bottom of the foot. And when we talk about like connect with the earth with your feet, this foot here, this point on the foot here, kidney 1, this is the point we're talking about. So we are moving now over to the kidney channel. We're going to start just by waking up kidney 1. You can use a knuckle. You can divide, kind of just press your knuckle right into there. The color of the water element in traditional Chinese cosmology is a sort of bluish black color. So you can imagine when you are connecting through your feet, drawing up like your feet are ink, dipping into an ink well, just drawing that blue black energy up through your legs. Okay, so activating kidney 1. Now, the kidney channel, all the 3 leg yin go along the inside of the leg here, whereas the yang channels each get to cover a pretty large swath of the top, side, and back of the leg. 3 yin, they just have to share this region, but the kidney 1 is the one sort of running closest to the Achilles and the back part of the leg. So kidney 1 is here, and it comes and it makes this little makes a little loop-de-loop right around the ankle. So when we're giving ourselves a massage here, we're going to just sort of sweep through this whole area. And this is it's rich with points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, there's a lot of options here for working on the kidney channel. So we'll work through there. 9 is a spot just about this high up before you hit the next muscle body. You'll feel it as you're working through here. All of a sudden there's a point that's really sore. Yeah, it's a really good spot. And then coming up here to the knee, kidney 10. And then it traverses this inside of the thigh and comes up to the groin. Okay. And then we'll work up here, but it's going just alongside the navel and then up into the chest. So we're going to give a little bit of attention down to our feet, and then we'll do the chest separately. Okay. So if you can do this, then you can get both of them at the same time. That causes problems because you can't reach the legs. So use your thumbs and do circles right here. This is the inside, right? Before we were on the outside between the ankle bone and the Achilles tendon, but now we're going to work on the inside. So this is kidney 3. Important point. Find that 9, that spot sort of almost halfway up. And you could just take your hands and thumb and squeeze like that. Sometimes about halfway in here, there might be some points in through here that are quite tender. You can tell so this is kind of helpful, right? If you look at like the seam of a pair of leggings or pants or something, that's going to go just about the middle of the inside of the thigh. So the kidney channel is going to be on the back side of that. If you find some points that are really especially sore in there, you can just use your knuckles and rub them like that. So the kidney channel starts at the feet and it goes up, right? So mostly with this, we are going to be going up. And now it's time to stand up. Okay, so we're going to brush up. And the movement here is when you're coming just up the navel, right? Imagine that you are drawing that bluish black water energy up from bubbling spring, kidney 1 on the bottom of your foot. It's coming up just like a fountain. And lastly, this collarbone, sternum, right? Where the collarbone and the sternum meet, right in there. It's the end point of the kidney channel. And we'll see like two, almost like indentations. And you're just going to rub there. It's a good time to check in with your breathing. The kidneys are the sort of like the treasurers or the endowment of life force energy in Chinese medicine. So they're really important. And as an endowment, you want to make sure that it's being spent well, right? Your vital energy is what you are endowed with, and how you spend it matters. So alchemical and Taoist teachings had a lot to do with preserving and enriching that endowment. Here are the kidneys here. And so as such, they're associated with the quality of mind of being wise. And there's also an aspect to them of like self-love, right? If you are being loving to yourself, you're having a clear recognition of what your resources are, what your personal resources are, and then you're going to spend those resources wisely. And then the other thing about that is, from self-love, what do we do, right? We use caution. And so there's an abundance of caution that's associated with the water element and with the kidneys especially. And there's something kind of beautiful to that right now, especially, right? We see a lot of reason to be cautious, and that caution itself is not necessarily, it's a really valuable thing. It's a very valuable quality. So we talked about bladder, we talked about kidneys. So here we are with our water element. Now we're going to go move them, and I'm going to bring you over here for our movement section. And we realize is that all the movements that I had in mind, they don't all work in the amount of time that we have. So So the main things I want to do is that channel massage, so you know what the trajectories are that we're covering, and then we're going to move pretty quickly into the movements of the I Ching Ching. Okay, so we'll do the opening sequence for it. We'll do the movements themselves and the closing sequence. In previous sessions, we've talked about breathing. We've talked about abdominal breathing, the counted breathing, the 4-3-5 breathing, and bring in the breathing now. I think that's my kid at the door. Hi, Max. So root down into your feet. And might help to just do a little bit of shaking right now, just to shake off whatever might be in there. Stress, worries, fear. Just clear that off. Now that we've talked about kidney 1, you can really connect with kidney 1, right? Let kidney 1 be your trampoline. I do more deliberate shaking down to the back, to the sides, up, down, stop, micro bend in the knees. Now, one way the kidney water energy comes in is by nourishing our soil. So we just had a nice little snow, we've had rain, let that water permeate through. And now we're going to bring sun. Hands together. Draw that warm sun energy into the chest center. This is where you can bring in moderate fire breathing. That's where the abdomen and the back and the pelvic floor are all pulling in as you breathe in and relaxing as you breathe out. It's the opposite. It's called reverse abdominal breathing. Okay, now we're going to bring our hands up and down. Now to get into the bladder movement, which is called drawing the sword, we are going to step open, feet hip width apart. We're going to do the thing where you put on a jacket, right? So you're going to bring a hand around in a circle like this. It's like you're putting on a jacket and hugging your buddy, okay? Put on a jacket, hug your buddy. You get to do this with your buddy because they're imaginary right now. Or you can imagine them here. This is the hug you would give if they were with you. And then the next hand is going to pass the plate around, okay? All right, so we've got hug the buddy, pass around the plate. I'm gonna brush it here. And then we're gonna bring these two together. So this is a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, 5 and 6. So remember that's, now this is your imaginary sock with a ball, right? So you've got that behind you. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your inner flamenco dancer comes out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your arm through the jacket, hug your buddy arm, that one's going to end up here. This one's going not very far, right? It's just going around and back. It's okay if this is confusing. My arms looked like this the first couple times I was learning it. Ultimately, this is where you're ending up, okay? This hand goes a little bit farther down, and this one's back here. Now, as you're breathing in, you're gonna bend your knees, feeling this connection between your hands. Maybe I'll turn this way, maybe easier to see. feeling this connection between your hands, you're going to imagine that you're holding on to the sheath of the sword here and pulling it up. Now, the bladder channel in this system is associated with the idea of progress, which is cool, right? Progress is water making its way down its course naturally and easily. You can also think of it like progress in a battle or something like that. Not that I'm so warlike as to think much about that, but you're sort of like drawing your sword to advance the cause of progress. Okay, so we're bending our knees and pulling our arms up. From the front, it looks like this. Okay. We talked about the bladder channel and how it goes down all the back. And imagine that's like a wire ribbon or something that's attached to your back. And when you go down like this and on your legs, you're collapsing your form, but the channel itself is sort of, it might be going slack a little bit. And then as you stretch out, you're elongating that channel, just like we did with the stomach, right? You extend and then you contract. With the bladder right now, we're collapsing it and we're going to extend. So when you're extending, you're connecting all the way from your eyes, the inner part of your eye, to the pinky toe. So that's the movement. And now we'll go through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to do 3 moderate fire breaths here. Make that connection between your hands behind your back, nice and firm. And we're going to go down 9 breaths. 1. Strong fire, about 30% of your strength. Pinky toe. Collapse, extend. That's 5. Now up to 50% of your strength. 7. 8. Last one up to 80% of your strength. Relaxed breathing. Now we're going to touch our hands up above our head, bring them down, and we're going to repeat the arm and the sleeve, pass the plate around on this side, okay? Arm and the sleeve, pass the plate around, and this hand comes back. Moderate fire breathing means the reverse abdominal breathing without a forceful exhale. Feel the connection between your hands and your spine. And now strong fire, 9 breaths. Progress. 50%, 6. 80%, last one. And relaxed breathing for 3. So sometimes when our progress is impeded, we might feel feelings of jealousy. That is a sort of contracted or sometimes negative emotion that can be associated with the bladder. Or there may just be inhibition, right? An inhibited flow. You have the will to do something, but you can't move forward. So we've done the activity of the bladder. Feel that feeling of power that moves through your body after it, and let that kind of like a flash flood just wash through and wash away jealousy and impeded progress. Okay, now we're going to move into what's a wider stance. I'm going to just show you my feet real quick, just so you know. And that is going to look like this. So if hip width usually looks like this, we're going to be more like that, okay? Oh, you can actually see my whole head. Okay. So now we're going to do the movement for the kidney. Remember, the kidney starts from kidney 1, traverses up the inner leg, and up through here. And remember that little fountain that we sort of made here on our chest? Well, we're going to do that motion. And so you can also imagine the water cycle, right? Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, runoff. Okay, so it's just this movement. We're doing little cycles. And as we go down, we bend down. We're going to do 3 sort of small ones. And then we're going to go bigger. All right, and then we're going to go really big, and as far down as you can squat, that's where you're going. If your deep squat is here, totally fine. Your arms can do the big work, okay? The depth of the squat here is not what we're going for. But when you are engaging that squat, see how you're really engaging the kidney channel, right? So here you're stretching out that kidney channel, and now you're letting it relax. So get your breath in your low belly, the back. There is no special breathing for this. It's just relaxed breathing all the way through. So we'll go 1, 2. Breathe in, arms come up. Breathe out, arms go down. Go slightly bigger. 1. 2, imagine you are in a pool and you're pulling water up through your fingers, pushing your hands down. So you imagine a viscous quality to the air. 1, 2.
Oh yeah, I did make my bed.
3. Now this is another place where you might want your chair or a cushion. You can be on your knees. You can be all the way on your knees if that's comfortable. That's not comfortable. That's comfortable. It could be sitting on a chair, it could be sitting on a cushion, whatever. Bring your breath into your belly, right? In that low back, where the kidneys are. Imagine those 2 little kidney beans on the back of your back. And imagine them as little treasuries of golden light. And imagine that they are buried treasure, right? So they've fallen down through the water and they're sinking down, down, down to the bottom of the ocean. And all the waves that were up there tossing the boat around are not active at the bottom. There are currents, there are movements that undulate the sea grasses, and the fish navigate them. But underneath all of that, it's deep, solid. You can imagine yourself as heavy as a rock and firm, solid. Now bring yourself back up. When we don't feel solid, we might feel fearful. And when our caution is applied sort of without need, we might be fearful. In times of uncertainty, caution makes sense, right? But to be overrun with fear causes our body to contract. So the line that we walk with the kidneys is understanding when is it appropriate to use caution, and when do we need to sort of calm and release our fear. So my hope is by connecting with Earth, by helping yourself feel rooted and solid, you can bring in the sense of self-love and groundedness, as well as sort of deep tranquility, and let that inform your movement forward, right? Let that inform your progress. So if you find any fear inside of you right now, that's okay. That's just a part of our human situation right now and always. We're going to offer that up and just welcome in caution and self-love. And now let that permeate through. I'm going to take that sun energy, bring it down, head, chest, lower dantian. Hear the sounds around you. Feel the air in your room. Smell the air. This is all the energy that's around you. You are in it, and it is in you. Thank you for being with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday.